At the Interactive Robotics Group Lab, deep inside a research facility at MIT, engineers are training these robot arms to do something that might seem a little basic.
The robot is trying to pick up this ball, and then it will try to put it in the sink.
But these simple tasks are not really simple at all. The robots in this lab are being trained to use artificial intelligence to intuitively and safely recognize instructions from humans, even predicting what steps they should follow next.
Now, I want to nudge it to pick up a different ball. Okay, so I can just push it in that general direction, and then let the robot auto-complete the detailed motions. As if you're teaching this robot a sport, right? If it's not doing the sport perfectly, you can just give it a nudge. What you are seeing here is a human-robot collaboration experience where user only gives super high-level guidance, and then the robot auto-completes the low-level granular motions.
It's all part of an exploration into what the factory of the future might look like. A place some think won't be totally taken over by robots, but where humans and robots work side by side. Ben Armstrong has spent the last several years studying how AI and automation are becoming part of the American manufacturing landscape.
The Work of the Future task force at MIT got started in 2018. One of the big questions, which is a question on many people's minds, is are there still going to be jobs once these technologies really take off? Is this going to displace all sorts of different workers? And what they found was that these technologies actually move slower than we think. And when they diffuse through the economy, they affect workers more incrementally than severely.
This isn't quite how big businesses once imagined the automation revolution would go. In the 1980s, General Motors built what it hoped would be a car plant so automated it was said the lights could be turned out.
And it backfired dramatically. It became the laughing stock of the manufacturing community. You know, the stories were of robots painting each other versus painting cars, of not really knowing which bumper to affix with which body of the vehicle. So it was really a comedy of errors that resulted with this factory of the future.
In terms of AI as the secret sauce, I think we're still real early. Automation is all over the place. I spend a lot of my time writing about Amazon, which has been at the forefront of robotics and logistics for more than a decade. Even there, they've backed off the dream they had at one point of a dark warehouse, saying, no, listen, we think humans are going to be in the loop for the foreseeable future. We're a long way away from the dream of, a robot being able to go from station to station, switching between tasks and kind of monitoring things on its own.
In fact, as of 2021, just about 12% of American factories used even a single robot. Asia is way ahead. China alone operates more than 40% of all robots currently in use in factories, according to an industry analysis. Automation and robotics is just one piece of the advanced computing landscape making its way into the manufacturing process. And where AI is showing up, it's often a lot more subtle.
So we're here at our line 21 extrusion line, and we've integrated our augury AI solution. This is our augury endpoint.
At this Fiberon composite decking plant in North Carolina, an AI-enabled device made by a company called Augury helps predict when the machines might break down. Fiberon says the device has repeatedly protected them from costly surprise maintenance.
Without the sensors, we can have an unexpected failure in the process. They can occur on the weekend. They can cause unplanned downtime.
Sar Yoskovitz is Augury's co-founder and CEO.
We have our own sensors that we physically install on the machines, which measure the vibration of the machine, the temperature, the magnetic emissions of a motor, and then we apply very sophisticated algorithms in order to tell you exactly what's wrong and also what you need to do in order to fix it. The best example I can give is when you drive your car, sometimes you can hear the fan belt is squeaking, and you know that you need to replace it or tighten it. So different malfunctions have very unique patterns that we learn how to recognize. Today we use very sophisticated algorithms all the way from deep neural networks through reinforcement learning, all the way now to transformers and the more modern generative AI solutions in order to not just tell you something is wrong, but also help guide the technician in exactly what they need to do in order to fix the issues.
Augury isn't the only company doing predictive maintenance. It's one of the fastest growing fields in manufacturing AI. Like a lot of AI entrepreneurs, Yoskovitz prefers to see these tools as not a job eliminator, but a job creator, and maybe even as a way to solve a worker shortage problem.
One of the questions we always get from people on the production lines is the computer coming in to replace me? And in fact, the goal is not to replace people, it's to arm them with new tools, more modern tools. Instead of looking at all of their thousands of machines every day, now they can focus on the 5 or 10 machines that actually need their attention. It's hard to overstate the challenges that manufacturing executives and manufacturing companies are facing today. On one hand, they're trying to meet the ever-shifting consumer demands. On the other, they're facing increased tension and pressure over geopolitical issues, growing supply chain resiliency problems, and an aging workforce. So the talent shortage is actually the biggest challenge that we're hearing from our partners and customers.
Of course, AI is not a panacea. Earlier this year, a survey by the World Economic Forum found that 41% of businesses across all sectors expect to reduce their workforce by 2030 thanks to AI.
AI is a tool that companies think might enable it to do a better job, right? Like if say a computer vision algorithm can more precisely identify defects in something, that's probably going to make their product better as it rolls off the line. But kind of by definition, a lot of these applications for AI today would make some of the humans who do those jobs redundant. That doesn't mean that the companies won't come up with other things for folks to do, or that companies don't have unmet needs they might be able to retrain people for. But if AI isn't job replacement, it's definitely job disruption.
Over the last 45 years in American manufacturing, there's been extraordinary job loss. The question is, how much of this job loss was due to automation versus offshoring and the general decline of American industrial competitiveness? I think that's a big question. At those factories that adopt robotic automation, do you see, for example, fewer machinist jobs? Actually, you see the opposite.
How should the robot move to ensure that, 1, it gets to where it needs to go, and 2, it doesn't crash into the human? If the human ever gets too close, the robot should stop.
The other side is, well, what do we really want from the manufacturing industry in general? Do we want a growing manufacturing industry that is a bulk of American employment like it was in the post-Second World War era? I don't think that's practical, and I don't think that's necessarily what we want either. What I think the goal should be for manufacturing jobs, but also jobs elsewhere in the economy, is that we want higher quality jobs that people find more satisfying.
People are always holding up that straw man of, are we going to recreate the world where you can roll out of high school and roll into a well-paying job with, a retirement attached? And that just seems so done in vast swaths of industry in the United States.
Companies definitely try to introduce automation to reduce jobs. So I'm not saying that companies buying automation solutions are benevolent. The biggest enthusiasts of automation favor machines over humans because they say humans just introduce error, they take bathroom breaks, et cetera, et cetera. But what they don't realize is that humans in a lot of senses can see what machines can't. So yes, there are predictions that there will be algorithms that can improve themselves, but right now, a human in the loop is going to be far superior to a machine on its own.